Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters, clergy and members of peace. 안녕하십니까?
안녕하십니까?
I will be on the plane right now because I am going to South Korea via Australia. For the time being, I will send you a recorded message. Thank you very much for your understanding. Today, I'd like to talk about God's ideal family and the kingdom of peaceful ideal world 2 from True Mother's Anthology, Volume 2. Let's study.
God's ideal family and the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world 2. Respected ambassadors for peace, leaders from all walks of life, distinguished guests from home and abroad, and beloved blessed families. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to
At the time also, I participated. It was a really incredible event. True Mother, who inherited the victory of Rev. Moon's tour of 120 countries, which began immediately after the founding of the Universal Peace Federation, completed historic providence of mother-child cooperation by traveling around the world and winning the proclamation of the world in 180 countries as a representative of true parents. By being accompanied by the true children in the position of true parents and having them participate in the preparing of the word and supervising events of the blessing, True Mother was able to restore and offer to heaven the realm of the lineage and the realm of Cain and Abel unity, both of which had been lost by Eve, who was the mother in the first family of mankind. My brothers and sisters, here's a very, very important point I'd like to mention. Through this series of the global events, what happened? What's the outcome? True Mother will rise to the throne as the perfect Eve on a global level. It has already been 27 years since True Parents founded the Universal Peace Federation, and soon it will be the 28 years. The truly amazing things that the Universal Peace Federation has accomplished throughout the world have been tremendous. Since True Parents proclaimed the UPF, wow, how much we raised so many political leaders, NGO leaders, economic leaders, religious leaders, for them to become ambassadors for peace. It is really, really incredible. Thank you, our heavenly parents, our true parents, and also Mother. So she is really traveling everywhere, every corner of the world. That's why now Mother really, become the position of the perfected Eve, and then also they become really global mother's figure. And then basically from that time, her mission as the God's only begotten daughter mission already from that time began. The living divine principle, human history, the history of the providence of restoration. Let's study from EDP first.
Human history is the history of the providence of restoration. Human history can be seen. We'll take lots of time to explain that. But the conclusion is that communism will eventually perish from the earth. Let's think for a second. When something happens, does a conscientious person hit another person first or get hit first? Does a good person strike first or an evil person strike first? An evil person strikes first. As you see, in World War I, evil nations hit first, and those nations were ruined. In World War II, nations that hit first were ruined as well. The same is true of even World War III. Nations that hit first were communist nations. Only 4 nations in the world have been divided into 2 respectively. They are Korea, China, Vietnam, and Germany. If these 4 nations...
Satan's strategy are completely different. Satan's strategy to strike first and then lose. And God's plan is to first get hit and then take away. The reason communism perishes is because it always strikes first. In World War I and World War II, the communist side was destroyed first. It was already a great example. Or a conscientious person never strikes others first. Similarly, in human history, states and nations that deny God always attack first. That country ends up being ruined. It was only a matter of time. Now the only countries on the earth that are of the same race but have been divided due to communism are China. This will be the final battle. He prophesied that when these two nations become unified, centering on God, world unification will surely come. Now the world of the human history is advancing towards the culture of the realm of the heart of the one big family under God. My brothers and sisters, from this point of view, the issues between Taiwan and China, South Korea and North Korea are global issues, right? As you well know, how tense are Taiwan and China, South Korea and North Korea, right? This is the last task humanity must overcome before world unification can be achieved. Taiwan as an able nation, how deal with the China, mainland China? This is an issue, not simple matter, right? And then at the end, North Korea and South Korea, right? These two area, if we really settle down, Father said, already heavenly fortune can create one in the world on the God. So now is really the world is almost like an end to settle down about this issue. And next, Father's word.
The cultural sphere of Christianity will dominate the world. Can the kingdom of
Love his enemies on a global level beyond the national level? For that reason, the Christian culture sphere has dominated the world. That's why Jesus is called the saints or saint of the saints. Now, on that foundation, Christian cultural realm of the Jesus, the cultural realm must change, centering on true parents who inherited everything. In the future ideal world, God-centered heart and filial heart will dominate the entire world, the culture of the Hyojong, right? In conclusion, it is that individuals and families and churches and nations who have been loved by God receive God's protection in any hardship. Therefore, we must be the first to love God in any situation. If we love God, okay, God cannot help but protect us. For the Unification Church in America to be protected, it must be loved by God. To do so, the Unification Church, more than any religious organization, must love not only God, America, and the people of America, but also all mankind and the world. If America loves the world and humanity, God cannot help but protect America. No matter what happens, the Unification Church in United States must help the missions in other countries and continue to send out missionaries to the world, centering on second generation. That is a path through which Unification Church in America is loved and protected by heaven. That's why America, as long as live for the sake of the world, for the sake of the whole mankind, our America never perish. We need to know how we can get love from God. We need to really love all mankind. We need to love the world substantially. This is the mission as the eldest nation. Today's youth ministry, when are we artistically crafted? Yeah, this is also quite very, very internal content. Recently, I share very deep content, right? So please listen carefully. How can we really inherit the heart, and when are we artistically crafted? So let's start.
Words of the Pyongyang Shingyang are the same as True Father's will.
Keep in mind, but always say, keep in mind, keep in mind, keep in mind. True parents told us to keep in mind are the same as true parents' will. Like his last will. We must read and reread them until they touch our hearts and make them our own. So when you read the word, you must read it with your heart. When you do not understand or do not read these important words with your heart, you must meditate on and pray for each sentence. We must pray together with meditation to find out what this word really means. My brothers and sisters, meditation is prayer. So if you separately accept the words that have moved you so far, write them down and in a notebook and meditate repeatedly. You can understand the deeper meaning of the words the more you meditate. Those who repeat the inspired word over and over and again will come to know the taste of the words and sometimes receive unimaginable stimulation and joy. The fact that I was moved by the word of true parents means I must keep in my mind deeply. What does it mean to keep in mind? It is stem. It is to stem the inspired word onto my heart. That's why I already mentioned, must keep in mind, must be keep in mind. That means really it is to stem the inspired word onto my heart. Next.
You must know the world of the heart behind the past of their parents who suffered. It is because
the word of true parents, we must know the world of heart behind the words. The reason people have been divided into numerous denominations based on the content of the Bible so far is because they do not know the heart of God and Jesus behind the word. When you enter the world of heart, everyone becomes one. Even if we look at Adam's family, we do not know the word of God's heart behind the fall of Adam and Eve and Cain's murder of Abel. If we read true parents' word but still cannot understand them, it means that we are far from true parents' realm of heart. Going further, in a word, it means not knowing the sorrow and harm of true parents. So Father said that if you read the word, you should know the bitterness of God and true parents. Then how can we know the harm, which is the bitter sorrow of God and true parents? To know the bitterness of God and true parents, we must deeply understand the principle of restoration. Fallen human beings do not know how much effort their parents put in to raise them and the misery they went through. Fallen human beings do not know that their mother suffered while wandering between death and near death to give birth to them. They do not know how many pains and sorrows and hardships their parents went through to raise them alone. How could a human being with such a fallen lineage know God's sorrowful heart and heart? Next.
you must
Continues to emphasize the world of heart. This is because when you enter the world of heart, you can read the other person's circumstances, heart, and mind. If my mind is clear, I feel the other person's sorrow as if it were my own. Think of it as if it were my own and feel their pain as if it were my own. You can read that person's past as soon as you see that person's face. That's why the world of our heart is truly mysterious. So, knowing the circumstances of that person's pain, you shed tears without even realizing it. Those who live with this kind of a heart feel all the circumstances and feelings of the other person. That's why true parents said that the fallen man, fallen human being must go through many hardships and sufferings. The world of heart is a world that cannot be felt unless you experience it. Therefore, true Father said that we can come to know the world of God's heart when we understand and digest all the hardships, pains, and hardships that we are experiencing as if they were from heaven. That's why true Father said, you can know me only when you go through many hardships and grievous incidents up to this day. You have to go through hardships to know the feelings of those who have suffered. One comes to know the sadness of the parents who endured hunger and suffered hardships to raise them only when they themselves are hungry. Next content.
When are we artistically grafted? It is
And be grafted into me. In other words, when the word enters my heart and if that word touches you and brings tears to your eyes, that is what engrafts itself into your heart. For example, if a child cries after learning about the mother's hardships, wow, my mother really sacrificed so much. My mother did everything for me, but I did not know. The later this child realized mother's hardships and pain. It is like connecting with mother's son in this way. If a human being knows God's hardships and sorrow through the process of suffering, indescribable sacrifice and suffering, then at that moment they are connected with God artistically. This is a true engrafting of heart. So if we live with the heart, we can perceive the situation at the heart of the other person. If the mother is sad, the children immediately notice and worry. Then how do you know the other person? You know it with your heart. Therefore, heart cannot be engrafted without tears. Once again, heart cannot be engrafted with tears. That's why true Father told us to know God's sorrow whenever we face persecution or difficulties. If you do not know the sorrow of your parents, the relationship between parent and child will not develop artistically. Human beings also need to become affectionate through the tears, to become closer in spirit. In the end, we must think that hardships and pain and difficulties and sometimes persecution and injustice are training to engraft ourselves with God's heart. So, I hope you will remember that fallen human beings will not be able to join without tears in their quest for God. So, whenever we face any kind of difficulties and persecution and pain and hardships, we really need to think, God give us this kind of opportunity to engraft, ourselves with God's heart. That's why we need to appreciate that. Very, very, really incredible content. Thank you so much. Today I talk about you cannot graft your heart without tears. 감사합니다.